You should see them on the streets of Berkeley now. Take a look at them at the age 50, what they look like. Buster suitcases, junkies. It's horrible. You know, there's a curse to being handsome when you're young and good look and successful. It doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it's good to be, instead of tall, dark, and handsome, short, white, and ugly. Let me tell you, there's an advantage to it. Who says tall, dark, and handsome is the norm anyway? They used to say, oh, she likes it. You know, remember the Americans say, he's tall, dark, and handsome. Oh, there's nothing wrong if you are. But what if you were short, white, and ugly? What are you supposed to do, commit suicide? I'm just having fun here. You know, boys just want to have fun. You think I'm going to get excited over Obama? I mean, what he's going to do is what he's going to do. You think they're going to give up because you discovered that he's a Marxist? You think he's going to go away? You think he's going to stop being a Marxist because you found out he's a Marxist? Ha! You think that because you discovered that the 51st Ward of Chicago is now the United States of America, they're going to stop behaving as though Al Capone took over America? We don't have an Elliot Ness. Can you raise the music? What am I going deaf? I can't hear it. I'm supposed to get high from the music. I can't hear the damn thing. All right, where is he today with the cello? I never cared for her as a figure in the Mickey Mouse days. She was Annette Funicello. Like I don't understand her, how she got where she was. She was never really attractive. Talk about heartthrobs from that day. I'm trying to remember now. I'm just drifting because I don't care about politics for the moment. Who was a hot movie star, teenage chick in my day? I'm trying to think of where they are. Carol Lindley, I remember. I used to go to dark movie theaters and imagine Carol Lindley was my girlfriend. Where is she today? Probably somewhere, I would imagine, in Palm Springs with a transfusion tree and a walker somewhere. The skin worn out from the sun, like a prune face. I hope not. But generally, that's how it ends up. And earlier rather than later from the dissipation. You know, either that or they found God early on in life and it saved them, but usually not. Usually there were party types, and by 50, washed up by 30. Shot by 40, and a basket case by 50 with the tree and the cigarette in a trailer somewhere in the back of a B movie. Like a scene where the daughter comes, "How are you, Mom?" And Mom is staring off into the desert with, stone blue eyes. This is the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere. Imagine discovering an opportunity that can completely rebuild your retirement fund by 40% over the next 2 years. Does it sound too good to be true? It's not if you take action today. Call my good friends, and I mean good friends, at Swiss America. Gold IRAs have averaged 20% per year growth since 2001. It's just common sense to roll over dead paper assets into gold, the best performing asset of the century. Then you can relax no matter what happens on Wall Street. Call now for a complete Gold 101 DVD and my free CD.
Call toll-free 888-867-8965. That's 888-867-8965.
For nearly a decade, I've told you to trust gold coins and Swiss America. Today, it's more urgent than ever. Get my CD, DVD, and new special report.
Call toll-free 888-867-8965. That's 888-867-8965.
Learn before you earn. Don't just imagine rebuilding your wealth. Do it now.
Call 888-867-8965 today.
Eloquent in their own way.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
Savage and the Soviet-style media. England has told me that in order to be allowed back into their nation, I must repudiate views which they have attributed to me, which I have never held or expressed. They sent me a high-handed letter, actually to my lawyers, in which they stated the following. It was emphasized that the onus is on your client to publicly renounce the statements which form the basis of the decision to exclude him. Any such repudiation must be genuine and comprehensive, and persuade my client that this is a true shift of position, in which case my client alone would be prepared to consider this. Of course, I am not alone in being the target of British censorship and oppression. I don't know if you know this. Winston Churchill said that in the years leading up to World War II, he was banned from the BBC. Banned from the BBC. Churchill banned from the BBC for a period of up to 8 years. Churchill was put into political exile where he was labeled an extremist at a time when his voice and free speech were needed the most. And at this time, my voice is needed to stand up against an international push for neo-Marxism and an attempt to suppress free speech. What England has done to me is nothing less than the most base form of Soviet-style oppression. In the 1930s and 40s, if a member of the Communist Party stepped out of line, and all Russians were required to be members of the party, then they would be put on trial, required to publicly renounce their incorrect views, and then be executed. All of this would be covered by the state-controlled media in the exact way the state wanted it covered. Today is not that much different. Today, no major media outlet has run the story of England's insane demand that I repudiate statements that I never made. Today, I finally spoke to a newspaper reporter who was interested in the story. But this is several days after the story first came out. We expect that from time to time in the course of history, individuals and groups will try to gain power at the expense of people's basic freedoms. We expect that dictators and despots will arise from time to time. What we do not expect is that they will get their way without a fight. We expect that patriots will rise up and decry the tyrants, even if this means putting their lives on the line. And we expect that a few brave souls in the media will speak up when an entire nation tries to blot out one man's freedom of speech. Unfortunately, there have been very few so far. Unfortunately, we have a Soviet-style media that works hand-in-hand with the government's demands for absolute control, whether the story is healthcare or Michael Savage. I want you to listen to something I saw on CNN. The Crescent News Network, CNN, today, had their girl in Baghdad, Christiane Amanpour, do a report on Hamas Boy Scout camps. You won't believe this propaganda. Even from Christiane Amanpour, she's outdone herself.
The Hamas government runs religious and recreational camps for more than 100,000 children. The boys participating in this one call it Boy Scouts, but it's more like boot camp. 12-year-old Mohammed is honing his skills. Without Boy Scouts, he says, there wouldn't be much to do.
We'd be bored, not having fun at all, and hate our lives. We'd be sitting at home, reading the Quran.
And what are they doing in this Boy Scout camp? They're preparing Palestinians, little boys, to kill Jews. Listen to this little terrorist in training.
Mohammed and many of the other boys here lost friends during the war. This may be a welcome release for him, but even at this young age, he's absorbing a message.
We come to the camp to have fun and train for Boy Scouts so we can build up our bodies, have power, so we'll be able to fight the Israelis.
So Christiane Amanpour put camps that prepare Palestinian boys to kill Jews on a higher level than Boy Scouts in the United States of America. They say that our Boy Scouts are evil because they believe in God. Of course, she covers for the Palestinian boys and say they don't really teach violence.
Emad, the camp leader, insists that they're not teaching violence. But in war-torn Gaza, they are teaching self-defense.
We try to change their perspective from one that is vicious or war-related to one that encourages them to be kids, to play.
When they're older, he says, they can then join the fight for a Palestinian homeland.
After you grow up, you can be recruited to liberate the land.
And what do these boys want to be when they grow up? Listen.
When we asked the boys what they wanted to be when they grow up, not surprisingly, they all said the same thing.
I want to be a defender of the country. I want to be a policeman and defend the country.
Someone who is disciplined and a defender of my country.
That's the media today. Glorify the enemy and tear down everything that's good in America.
Savage.
With Savage, you never know what to expect, and that's why you listen to his show every day.
The Savage Nation. Talk 910 KNEW.
Here's some of the headlines on michaelsavage.com. Senator Stabenow says she feels global warming when she flies. Now, you know her as Debbie Stabenow. I've given her a nickname, Stab You Now.